Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Hernandez, and I'm here to tell you why tenure should not be abolished. The affirmative claims that tenure has a negative effect on the education system. However, the number of ineffective teachers cited by the affirmative is a relatively small percentage of actual teachers in the nation, in California. In 2014, Randy Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, notes that this is a relatively small pool of grossly ineffective teachers, estimated at a 1 to 3% of California's 275,000 teachers. Tenured faculty actually represent the minority of educators nationwide. In 2011, Greg Schultz, the director of academic tenure, freedom, and governance at the American Association of University Professors, notes that the use of tenure has been on the decline since the 1960s, and only about 30% of faculty in the United States have tenure. That count includes community colleges, which have lower rates of tenured faculty, and for-profit and private institutions, which don't often have tenure at all. The National Education Association corroborates this by noting that no more than 1/3 of all colleges and universities actually have tenured faculty members. Contrary to what the affirmative claims, tenure actually encourages academic growth for educators, which leads to benefits for students, not disadvantages. The National Education Association notes that tenure gives faculty the independence to speak out about troubling matters and to challenge the administration on issues of new curriculum and quality. Instead of using too many resources, like the affirmative claims, Cameron Michael, a professor from Dean College, notes in 2010 that a tenured faculty member does not share directly in the profits of the college or university and is more motivated by a need to pursue academic excellence than a need to maintain enrollment. Tenure exists to deal with pre-existing issues. The National Education Association notes that the governance process under tenure may seem cumbersome, but it doesn't hold a candle to time and expense of moving disputes from the college board to the courtroom. The affirmative also claims that tenure protects poorly performing teachers from being fired. However, there's little evidence to substantiate the claim that tenured teachers perform poorly. In 2000, Henry Lee Allen, a professor associated with the National Education Association, states that nothing in the data on faculty workload and performance suggests that faculty with tenure neglect teaching their students, and they continue to produce relevant research and scholarship, and they don't promote dangerous ideologies in the classroom or anywhere else. Though the affirmative claims that tenure prevents poorly performing educators from being fired, tenure provides job security, but only to a certain extent. The National Education Association writes that tenure is simply a right to due process. It means that a college or university cannot fire a tenured professor without presenting evidence that the professor is incompetent or behaves unprofessionally. It's not impossible to fire a tenured professor, and there are specific reasons for doing so. Therefore, tenure does not protect incompetent teachers. In 2011, Greg Schultz, again the director of the Department of Academic Freedom, Tenure, and Governance, states, most people don't understand tenure. They think it's there to protect the lazy and incompetent. But the view of the American Association of University Professors is that if people are incompetent, they should be fired. Although the affirmative claims that tenure negatively affects education, providing tenure to faculty members positively affects education. Tenure is important for establishing academic freedom. The NEA defines academic freedom as important because society needs safe havens in which to challenge conventional wisdom. Academic freedom puts ideas to the test and teaches students to think and defend their ideas. This happens when tenure is established. In 2011, David Yamada of the New Workplace Institute blog defines tenure as being able to convey an enhanced level of protection for academic freedom, grounded in the conviction that knowledge creation and expression of ideas should be free from intimidation or retaliation. Also, tenure allows educators to focus on improving their skills without worrying about circumstances for work. The National Education Association claims that an educator deserves to be protected from endless self-justification and working in a perpetual state of anxiety. In 2014, Lindsay Layton of the Washington Post reports that tenure was first adopted to protect teachers from firings on the basis of race, pregnancy, politics, or other arbitrary factors. Dennis Van Rokel, the president of the National Education Association, also states in 2014 that tenure and related employment laws in California protect teachers from arbitrary firings, reward experienced teachers, and make teaching an appealing career option. Not only is it important for academic freedom, but the practice of tenure also supports creative, original thinking. In 2011, the News Service of Florida reports that faculty often say the main value in having tenure is being able to write or talk about controversial or sensitive topics through research or in class with their students without fear of retribution. The fact is that tenure ultimately leads to better institutions of learning. The American Association of University Professors, in their 1940 Statement of Principles on Academic Freedom and Tenure, notes that institutions of higher learning are conducted for a common good, and not to further the interests of either the individual teacher or the institution as a whole. The common good depends upon the free search for truth and its free exposition. This can only occur when tenure is in place. The American Association of University Professors also notes that academic freedom and economic security are indispensable to the success of an institution in fulfilling its obligations to its students and to society. Therefore, tenure should not be abolished.